Welcome back to the Lift Free and Diet Hard podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Coates. Join me along with industry leaders and friends on a quest to get more people through the gym door and eating and living healthier. Join me where evidence meets empathy while rejecting fitness industry fads and extremism. Let's begin. My good friend, Kenny Santucci. It's been quite a while since I've had you on. I mean, just pinning you down for a podcast recording is tricky enough as it is with your hectic pace and schedule. And you're putting together this year's Strong New York. So you're the founder of Strong New York, which is New York City's biggest health fitness expo. I got to be there and be part of the speaking lineup in 2022. And you are the owner of the Strength Club in Midtown Manhattan, which I love. I've gotten down there. And you're now working on the Strong AF podcast. So quite a busy dude. Great to have you.
Thank you for having me, sir. I appreciate it.
I'm sure I missed a whole lot of other things in the intro, but
No,
that's enough, right? So
yeah,
let's go right for the jugular. Are we failing at fitness and wellness as a society?
Are we failing? No, I wouldn't say we're failing. I think we've done a pretty good job of getting the messaging out there. I don't think we can necessarily take the credit for it. I think it was a lot of the right people saying the right things. And I think people are taking it more serious. I think we've always been seeing the same thing. It's just, we didn't have the letters after our names for people to listen to us. And people are now finally listening. And I think the people like us are obviously dialing it up and dialing it in even more, but we still have a large demographic of people who are doing nothing, So I think that's where we might be failing a little bit, is to like, how do we make it more attractive for that person to want to work out and do things? Because I think there's way more people spending money on health and wellness, gyms, workouts, things like that, more than ever before. I think people are taking it more serious than ever before. I think the longevity thing is a huge piece that people have bought into. So now that everyone feels that exercise is the number one thing that they should be doing, now people have the knowledge. Now it's on them to make the choice of what's right and what's wrong.
This episode is brought to you by Just Bite Me Meals. I work long days and I won't compromise my client experience or sacrifice my workout, sleep, or nutrition. So I needed quality and reliable meal prep service so I could save time on cooking and shopping and have more time for the stuff that matters. Net out the cost of groceries and a service isn't as much as you might think, and regular impulsive food delivery apps, eating out, that costs way more anyway. I get more meal variety and less dishes to clean, and I've been referring clients to Just Buy Me Meals for a long time, and I recently started ordering myself. Food is great. The beef brisket tacos are my favorite so far, and there's a lot of menu choice. Your calories and macros are listed. The portions are great. You can order custom meals. They deliver to your door, or you can pick up from the storefront. And I'm sorry to listeners outside of Alberta, but Just Buy Me Meals is currently just in Edmonton, Calgary, Grand Prairie, and Fort McMurray. Ordering from Just Buy Me Meals made my life easier instantly. And you can get 10% off on all your orders using my code, Andrew Coates Fitness, all caps, on their website. That's Andrew Coates Fitness, all capitals, or go to the link and the code in the show notes. You mentioned more people spending money on it. What about the narrative that the gym is too expensive? And oftentimes when someone will spend, not everybody actually has a discretionary income. Well, socioeconomics is complicated. But what about the people who are allocating a lot of money for other things, and they just say, hey, no, the gym's too expensive?
Well, I mean, listen, that is a huge thing for me, because I poke at that idea a lot. It's very upsetting to me that people value a purse, sometimes shitty food, experiences that they necessarily probably shouldn't partake in, over the gym. For me, the gym is what everyone should be doing. It should be the number one priority, because then you don't have to spend as much in healthcare. You don't have to spend as much time at doctors. You don't have to spend as much time like worrying about getting sick and, all that goes along with that. People would prioritize training and exercise and working out. Like, for instance, I had a client come in the other day and they're like, oh, I have back issue, I have this issue, I have that issue. But I'm going to keep going to Equinox 2-3 days a week. I'm like, well, listen, if you ever decide to make the investment of coming in and working out with me, I'm happy to help you out. The first one I'll even do for free. So I volunteer my time quite often to convince people that exercise and working with a specialist who does this for a living, who spends their life doing it, um, is a better move than you trying to do it for yourself. Just because you saw it online and somebody else had told you, oh, you should be doing this, but you don't necessarily see the value in paying for a trainer. Like we value a lot of shitty things in sneakers, right? People are paying tens of thousands of dollars. Like I know guys who spend thousands of dollars on a pair of sneakers or shoes, and women who spend tens of thousands of dollars on purses and gifts to, a bees all every summer. I'm like, you spent more on that and you look like shit in a bathing suit. And people are going to be like, oh, you're judgmental. I'm like, no, it's like you're living this shitty lifestyle to go and pretend like, whatever fantasy world you want to live in. But taking care of yourself is the ultimate flex. Being healthy is the ultimate flex.
Flex. So this goes right into something I think underpins a lot of this social signaling, because the things that people will spend the money on, they're status cues. So how much do you think, and are you good with it, that a lot of the fitness stuff now, not all, I think most people are actually wired for the right reasons, but some people, their fitness in the way they outwardly display it is its own, show of status. And yes, there's the old Arnold quote and the variations of it about like, muscle and your physique is a status symbol. And some people like that. And some people really rail against that. But I'm talking about the lifestyle display, the girl with the yoga mat on her back, right?
Yeah. Well, the only people who say they hate people who are in great shape are the people who are unwilling to put in the work and do what they're supposed to do. Yeah, this fucking movement a couple of years ago, 2020, 2021, 2022, were fucking praising fucking fat people for being lazy pieces of shit and saying, oh, well, no, listen, I'm not saying everybody has to have the perfect body. What I'm saying is you could tell the difference between somebody trying and somebody not trying. I used to say this all the time in my classes. I said, when people are like, but I'm trying, I go, no. Listen, I do this for a living. I know exactly what trying looks like. I know what effort looks like, and I know what fucking round looks like. And you don't have to be a genius to figure any one of those out. And what people need to do is start trying a little bit more and taking care of themselves. Because, if it was easier, if there was a pill or a shot that everybody could take and they could all look like fucking Arnold, or they could all look like, some other celebrity with an incredible body, then they would do that too. Look at all the people who are taking Ozempic till they're blue in the face. And now as soon as it doesn't work, they're like, oh, it doesn't work anymore. It's like, yeah, well, because you didn't pick up. I see Ozempic and a lot of those, those types of drugs as a gateway to getting you into a healthier lifestyle. You don't want to use it as a crutch and use it all the time. You want to use it as a catalyst to get you into better shape. Now, here's the thing. Most people are like, well, I'll just take the shot and I won't do any of the hard shit. But the hard shit is the important stuff. And that's what people need to get used to. So when people tell me, oh, I don't want to look like a bodybuilder, I don't want to be in great shape, it's like, who the fuck doesn't want to be in great shape? That's the stupidest thing. You feel better, you look better, you're more admirable. Like I said to my buddy the other day, he works in finance, he just got divorced, and he's dating this woman. She's like, she's a doctor, and she's telling him, she's like, you got to get into better shape, Jared. You got to start taking better care of yourself. And he's like, yeah, I know. I go, Jared, just think about this. If The Rock walked in here right now, or a guy who looked like The Rock, great shape, great physique, bigger, more masculine, I go, you'd be more inclined to want to buy something from him. You'd be more inclined to be impressed by him. You'd want to like spray it a little bit. It's even for myself. When I'm around guys who are in great shape, I want to talk to them. I'm like, oh, they must know more than I do. There must be something else that they're doing. They must have a level of discipline that I don't even know exists. So I tell people all the time when they say, oh, I don't want to look great. It's like, no one doesn't want to look great. Like that's never, mediocrity is never the goal.
I suspect very strongly the narrative that, hey, I don't want to look a certain way is ego and identity protective over someone that feels very powerless. They feel like they don't know how. And so it's much easier to subscribe to narratives that it's beyond their control, therefore they can't do it, then therefore there's no point, which just soothes that ever-present emotional discomfort about being, not being comfortable in their body, right? Which I think is far more common than people claim. I actually genuinely believe that's true. Or this feeling of metabolic unhealth. And then of course you have, and one of my big pet peeves are these status-seeking grifters and often narcissistic personalities who have this will rile some people, but there's an activist class that is masquerading as fitness professionals, LARPing as fitness professionals, making claims that fundamentally at their core, things like there's no long-term relationship between your level of adiposity and your long-term metabolic health risks, which we know is, that's a lie, right? That's an ideological lie. And that sort of shit frustrates me on that extreme end, because some of those people that I've seen with their media, they will present a lot of, sometimes statistics that can be really disempowering. And obviously, usually damn lies and statistics are presented in such a way that they look ironclad, but there's always context. Let me reform my thoughts here. But I think what some of these individuals, and I like warning people against these types of figures, is I think they want to be worshipped. I think they are seeking status. And I think that it's much easier to be revered by vulnerable people by telling them this disempowering message to say, hey, it's not your fault. It's not your responsibility. I don't love the lens of fault. I don't like it, but responsibility, I do. And it's much easier to scoop up legions of these people who feel disenfranchised and frustrated with the status quo and tell them, no. It's okay. It's all right. It's healthy. You're supposed to feel good. We're all happy. And I think there's a big lie in that side of things.
No, 100%. I think there's so many people who are just like, well, the easy, and it's concerning to me because growing up, it was always like work hard, do better, make more money. It was this idea of capitalism here in the States, and that idea of like, break the rules, don't break the laws, the whole Arnold thing. It was growing up, I would watch all these people like Hulk Hogan, rest in peace, and, Sylvester Stallone and Schwarzenegger. And it was like, be great, be as good as you can be. And even if you don't get there, at least you're trying to be there. At least you could say, like, you could look back on your life and say, all right, at least I took a shot. This idea of mediocrity is a fairly, in my opinion, new idea. And we're encouraging kids and people to do less when we should be encouraging people, now that we have the knowledge, to do more. Think about how much more we know because of the internet and chat GPT and all this stuff. It's like we should all be getting better. We don't even have an excuse anymore. It's not like we don't know. You have the knowledge. When I was growing up and I got into the gym, I had to look in magazines and learn from a bunch of guys who were just, trying different shit. Nobody really knew what the hell was going on. I remember reading Lee Priest workouts and Jay Cutler workouts. And like, these guys were just like, yeah, I eat a bunch of eggs and chicken and here's my workout, and now it's like you have all this knowledge and all this information from doctors and nutritionists and people who spend their lives trying to understand this stuff. It's like I went off meathead science for the longest time. And it turns out most of those guys were right. Yeah.
Yeah. Grew up on that stuff.
So
an old friend of mine, I'd work out in the gym over 2 decades ago. And in the racket next to me is my old buddy, Frank McGrath, who's a famous, iconic pro bodybuilder. He's famous for like crazy forearms. I'll get him on the podcast sometime soon. I saw him at the Olympia last year. Great human being. And I'm reading bodybuilding magazines. And funny enough, like, you could rip those things apart. If you had a discerning eye, you could figure out, okay, well, this is rubbish versus like, okay, there's actually a lot of really good stuff in there. They just get a bit of a bad rap. But I'm not saying, hey, they should be the be all end all. I still write for Muscle Fitness magazine. I mean, it's one of the coolest things ever to write for a publication that I was reading over 2 decades ago, right? I was walking around at your event in 2022 with my buddy, Jeff Tomko, who has been my editor at Muscle Fitness for a while, right? I meet Eb Samuel there, who's been a podcast guest before, the top editor, senior editor at Men's Health, right? So And then who else
Mhm.
was there? I'm trying to remember. I think, yeah, David. I bet David from Barbet. And it's like
Yes.
all these people, these big publications in our industry. So I have a very positive view on those publications. Right? There's nothing wrong with someone pulling a magazine down from a newsstand. I think it's a good experience to try to learn to sift through, because you're talking about all this information out there. It's also a ton of bullshit. So we're not short on
Oh,
information, but I
sure.
think people can get overwhelmed with all the literal nonsense that's floating around. So you have to develop a bit of a discerning eye for what's good information, what's bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's part of the reason why I created Strong New York was
Let's
because
talk about that.
I wanted, yeah, I wanted people to come and listen to the experts that I trusted and that I believed in. Because I would get questions from my clients all the time. It's like, hey, I heard this person say this or that person said that. I'm like, all right, well, listen, if you just come to my event, I have the best people in every category, whether it's longevity or biohacking or strength training or speed and conditioning. I'll have them all at my event. These are the people you should be listening to because there is a lot of noise out there and there's a lot of bullshit. Um, so it's a way to cut out the bullshit and come listen to professionals. And I think we do something a little different. Ours is a little bit more unique and geared towards the New York City market. Why I did it the way I did it was because I wanted my event to feel like what people were experiencing here in New York and not bodybuilding and supplements, because that's what, you know, has been the status quo for a long time. And I love that stuff. I go to the Arnold, I go to the Olympia, I go to everything. And I enjoy that stuff, but it's not what is relevant here in New York. So I wanted something to be more New York based. So this year we'll have a bunch of like Pilates is huge here. We'll have Pilates, we'll have yoga, we'll have kids classes, we'll have a dance class, we'll have stuff that people are doing here in New York.
Hyrox.
Um,
Because
high rock.
you were in on Hyrox way before. I've been listening to you on podcasts. I actually listened to you on Coach 'em Up. I'm gonna go appear on that
Yeah,
soon. They're great. And you're talking about
nice.
like
Yeah,
you were early in on Hyrox.
yeah. 2019. So we had partnered with them for Strong New York in 2019, and at the time, I couldn't give away tickets. I couldn't convince people because I was a runner at the time. I was doing a ton of runs. I had ran up to that point. I probably had run the New York City Marathon 6 or 7 times, did a couple times after COVID. I've done marathons. Now it's like everybody's an ultra runner and everybody's super into high rocks. But at the time, it's like I couldn't get CrossFitters to run that far and I couldn't get the runners to do all the other shit. So it was like a very new thing. And I was just saying to Christy the other day, I go, you know, it's almost a blessing and a curse that we were like so far ahead of the game that I saw what they were doing. I was like, this is going to really take off if they stick with it. And there was a point where I was talking to the owner the other day during COVID. It's like, how'd you guys pivot? I had him on my podcast and I said, and I was like, the fact that you guys were able to weather the storm during COVID, um, and they weren't really doing anything other than selling masks and shit. Like they started a whole other company selling other products and shit and keep the business afloat. But in reality, it's like COVID almost shut down everything. But they came out of COVID and now they're probably the fastest growing business within the fitness space right now. They're going to do over 1 million runners this year. Every one of their events sells out. Next year, they were talking about doing an 8, 9 day fucking uh, event here in New York. It's crazy. Like the demand for it is insane. And just 5 years ago, I couldn't fucking give tickets away.
Do you think, I mean, my theory is that it's an intersection of a disillusionment of a lot of the people behind the brand name CrossFit. I don't think CrossFit's going away per se, but it's taken a lot of reputational hits over the last few years. And the massive surge in people defining themselves as hybrid athletes, the interest in zone 2 cardio, and the intersection of also strength training. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I think there's people who are like, well, I don't want to just do this one thing. I think it's all of this is a spawn of the CrossFit world. People shit on CrossFit all the time. Everybody's looking to hate anybody who's on top. Not to say that they're on top anymore, but they kind of started this wave. They made it cool for guys to take group fitness classes. They made it cool for women to be jacked. You know, if you watch a lot of the early CrossFit videos, unless you were in it, you probably, or you would go back and look at the videos, they would push Jackie Perez and Christmas Abbott and be like the hot girls of CrossFit. And like one of their taglines was like making sevens, tens, because it was like all these just normal looking women who are now jacked and in shape. And this was like a thing. It was like they were the ones who kind of pushed people to do this. Like I remember seeing some of those ads 2010, 2011, somewhere 2012, and be like, oh, this is really cool. This is like a really cool brand. And it was just straightforward black and white. And they were running and they were lifting and they were doing all this stuff. And prior to that, nobody was really doing that stuff. And now Hyrox and a lot of these other brands are taking it to a whole other level. Um, but when you think about an athlete, right? An athlete has to run, an athlete has to lift, and being good at both of those things makes you an even better version of a human, in my opinion. So like people are pushing the top end on both. There's so many people I know who used to like be clients of mine and people who come to the gym and take my class who are now like all into the fitness space, and they're gurus, and it's everybody thinks they're a fucking expert at it.
So you mentioned community. Are are you seeing people craving more community within their fitness? And are you seeing more demand
Oh,
for
for sure.
in-person coaching and going to gyms?
Yeah, I think there's a cultural shift happening where people are drinking less because now we're more knowledgeable about like what the
Yep.
side effects of alcohol are. Um, and you're seeing people drift away from nightlife and bars and drifting more towards the communal aspect of fitness. But you're going into this thing, you're going into this world where you're like, oh, how do I meet new friends? What do I do for a social outlet now that I'm not drinking? I was just saying on a podcast not too long ago that I think the detrimental hit of people not drinking and not going out might actually be worse than them going out, because now you have all these
Mm.
people who are sitting at home and they're not doing anything, and loneliness might be just as bad as obesity. Loneliness adds to just as much depression and anxiety and everything else as obesity does.
Well, this is why for so long we believed that there were mild health benefits to moderate drinking,
For
because there's
sure.
all this data that seemed to point to that. But once they teased out what was really going on, and this is my interpretation and other smart people's, is that the most people who are drinking mildly to moderately were doing it in a social environment. And
Yeah.
the benefits from social interaction was so overwhelmingly good that it was completely masking the minor, relatively minor deleterious effects of like light to even almost moderate drinking. And you see this really big, like heavy drinking, binge drinking, and then you get really, really nasty long-term health implications. But yeah, it just turns out that it was just the social stuff was so potent. And if we can find
Yeah.
ways to have people, because even I drink less, but I also go out and I'm social less. One of the reasons why I like traveling within the industry is because then I get to see industry friends do that. But I tend to hunker down at work. There's definitely a correlation between, the last several years and how much less I drink. So it's like, okay, cool. How can we replace that? So that goes back to the event and what we're seeing socially. Um, yeah. What is, what's the community side of your event? What does that promise? Why should people go check it out?
Well, what we did, we just released actually what we call a buddy pass. So, people always get anxiety about showing up somewhere alone. So we
Mm.
decided we're like, all right, well, the number one thing everybody wants to do is always bring a friend. So it's like, if you buy one ticket, you get a discount on the second ticket. Um, so it encourages one, people to buy more tickets, but two, also to invite them, because now you have this friend to go through the experience with. Um, and there's multiple avenues to gain more friends, right? When you're there with somebody else, you're more inclined to talk to other people, I believe. You're not as timid and shy.
Mm.
Um, so we'll have workouts, and then we're going to have a little competition that you could do with a friend where you can test your strength, right? So I want everybody, you have so many of these gurus, the Andy Galpins and the different experts in the strength world talking about, well, the stronger your quads are, uh, longer your lifespan. The stronger your grip strength, the longer your lifespan. The better your VO2 max, the longer your lifespan. So we're going to have actually different arenas where you could test this stuff. Grip strength, vertical jump, different things like that. And people are going to be able to have what we call a strength score. So they'll have a strength score at the end of this. So you just add up whatever your reps are, and this will give you an overall ranking. And then you could do it by yourself as an individual, or you could do it with a friend. So it's an opportunity for you guys to compete together. It's an opportunity for you guys to kind of experience a lot of this stuff. And I tell people to choose your own journey, right? There's going to be so much going on. There's puppy yoga classes and kids classes and jujitsu and, a lot of stuff that most people wouldn't jump into on their own. No, most people aren't going to walk into their local jujitsu gym and be like, hey, could I get a membership? So this is a good environment for people to try it out and be like, oh, okay, I know one of the instructors over there at that gym now because I met him at this event. I'm going to go over and check out a class, or maybe I'll go do some privates with them, and then they could kind of ease me into the class. So that's what we're trying to do right now with the event, is to just we know we're going to get and we always do get the fitness enthusiasts and the industry people and the people who own gyms and things like that. We're now trying to get those people who are on the fence. So it's an initiative for everyone involved, anybody who's in the fitness industry. Stop fighting over the same 5 fucking clients and help us all get more people doing fitness, doing something. I don't care what it is: dance, yoga, Pilates, jujitsu, boxing. The initiative is to get more people moving. And that's what I want to lead with. So, bring a friend who doesn't like to move that much, because we all have one, and help show them that there's this whole other world out there that they're missing out on. One of the things that somebody had told me at the end of the event last year, they were like, there's so many, my aunt is very overweight, never goes to the gym until I open my gym in Jersey. She's 71 years old, and she's like, I'm just so inspired by all these people who are in such great shape and they're so excited about life and so positive. And I was like, that's what it is. It's contagious. Just like COVID was contagious, this feeling of health and wellness is contagious. We want to get more people experience that on a daily basis. Like we all go through those days and times where we're like, I don't want to really work out right now, but you're around that electricity and that type of person that inspires you to want to work out. Like I talk about it all the time when I go do like gym reviews and stuff. I say, like, you walk into certain rooms and certain spaces and see certain people and you're like, fuck, I can't help but want to work out right now.
I definitely notice I have a very decked out home gym. I coach people in it 75% of my time now. And I mean, part of it too is also getting out of the house, but I go to a commercial gym for my workouts. And I'm in their head, hat on, headphones on, etc. And like, if I see someone I really know, yeah, I definitely want to say hi. And occasionally people come up to me. I'll always interact really positively, like for real. Like you see me in public, come say hi. But oftentimes it's just, there's the energy of having people around, even if I'm kind of like quietly to myself in my own head and my music, right? There's just something different about being around people.
I agree. I think the vibe of being around that, and I think it's a good jump start for a lot of people, right? Like sometimes I come back, for instance, like I went to Jay Ferruggia's event. I talk about this all the time. I went to one of his events, probably 2018, 2019. And it was like 12 guys. It was like Luca, Mike, me, Jay. It was a bunch of guys. Anyway, we were all sharing ideas, and it was an opportunity for a bunch of us to like work out, hang out together. And I was so inspired after that weekend. I was like, God, I need that kick in the ass again. I texted Jay a couple months ago. I was like, I got to get back out to one of your events because it was such a good, like positive, it's the same way I felt after I left a Tony Robbins event. You're just like geared up to kind of do more. I'm like, there's so much more out there, and you could really change your reality and change your trajectory in life when you start to go to more things that like force you to be more positive and be around people who are doing positive shit. Like I want people to feel that, it felt so good. I think one of the one of the things that I believe is an important part of life is like when you get really good at something, you find something great, you want to share it with your friends, you want to share it with other people, and you want to teach other people how to do it. I mean, that's why I got into the gym world, because I was really heavy as a kid and I was unhappy with myself. And then when learned how to take care of myself and feel really good, then I wanted to share that with my friends and my family. Like, don't ever be the gatekeeper and like not let people in. Like, let people in, experience, let them feel how good it feels to exercise and want to do more with your body.
It sure feels like we are getting more boots on the ground in gyms. Do you think there are people who are getting forgotten about, left behind, the ones who aren't getting out, aren't being social? We're not seeing or hearing about this because we can't save everybody.
Yeah.
And any ideas on how to reach some of those people, getting them feeling safer in a space like that?
I think there's definitely a lot of stuff out there now, more so than there's ever been before. Like I love a hardcore power building gym, right? Like bodybuilding, powerlifting. I love the energy of that. Any place that's playing fucking 80s metal music as loud as it could possibly be played, and people are slamming weights and shit. I love that. Like for me, I need that 2, 3 times a week. And then there's the gyms that are, there's a great place called Training Lab here and like Tone House. Like there's so much stuff out there. And like one of the things that I do with the event is like I want to showcase a lot of these brands. I want to showcase people. There's these spaces that exist for everyone. Like what is it that you're into? What is that tribe that you gravitate towards? For me, it's like I for me, I love the jujitsu fight world. Like maybe it's because I was a fucking dork as a kid, and then started wrestling and doing jujitsu, and this is where I felt alive. This is where I felt accepted. So it always feels good for me to come home to that. But that's not for everyone. So there is opportunity for that. Like if you're into like silks and like hanging from the ceiling, and I think that an easy kill for me to get anybody involved is like the puppy yoga thing. It's like minimal to no moving, and then you have like dogs there. It's like nobody. If you don't like dogs, you're a certain type of psycho, right? Like I don't even want you around. A dog and a child are the two things that I think bring everybody together and make everyone smile. You're uh you just feel better when you're around them, right? The chemical response of being around dogs and children are always just so much greater than anything else. Um, so that's why I make that part of the event. And then this year will be the first time we're going to have like a DJ in the middle of the room, DJing all day long. I'll have like multiple different DJs, some celebrity DJs, some regular DJs, but it's like, it's going to have a vibe all day long. So there's going to be workouts and music and food and, talks. It's going to be a little bit of everything.
So what else can people expect? And what's in it for? Because you said that the enthusiasts and the fitness professionals will show up. And in 2022, you had an educational tract speaking stuff. And I was part of it. Pat Davidson, Luca Hosabar, Don Saladino, Gabrielle Lyon, Gunnar Peterson. It's pretty dynamite. So what do you got for the fitness professionals, and what else do you got for everybody else?
So we're going to have, obviously you could get credits towards whatever certification you have at the event. You just submit your paperwork and you can tell them that you're there. And we have a deal with NASM. I think Christy had set it up with CSCS as well. So any of the nationally certified certifications, you could get some continued education points. But also we're going to have some breakout groups with some people like Chris Hinshaw. You'll have an opportunity like a smaller group. So if you're part of the VIP package or if you have one of the higher tickets, we'll have rooms like breakout rooms. And I was even talking to Joe DeFranco, the guys from, I actually talked to Luca and his guys about doing a event, kind of these breakout rooms where it's like, if you want to learn how to build your business, how to run a gym, like a lot more industry professional type stuff, we'll have these smaller breakout rooms and we'll have this ticket for industry professionals to to kind of learn more and grow more within the fitness space. So yeah, it'd be sad if we didn't service that industry a little bit more. So I want to have that, but all the main stage talks all be for the general public. So the general public will have the opportunity to kind of learn about longevity. And, when I talk about longevity, I don't just talk about from like a medical standpoint and having doctors up there be like, oh, you should work out, you should do this. We already all know that. I'm bringing up like an older population of people, 70s, 80s, 90s, to speak to people about what truly helps you get through life. Like these are people all lived multiple decades longer than the rest of us. And to understand from them and to listen to them, their wisdom of like, what are you doing differently that your peers didn't do? What is actually truly leads you to happiness, right? Like you don't necessarily, there's all these studies about, is it money? Is it exercise? What is it that keeps people excited and keep them going through life? So I'm really excited about talks like that. But biohacking, um, nutrition, lifestyle stuff, that'll all be part of the event. We'll also have, and I like making it, like I said, more New York centric. So for the past couple of years, we've had a tattoo artist, we have somebody doing piercings, we have haircuts, and somebody doing blowouts and massages and, all types of physical therapy and body work stuff. So there's a little bit of experience for everybody, so we'll have cold plunging and saunas. So there's so much there. If you're remotely interested in taking better care of yourself and living a healthier life, you are absolutely an idiot if you don't come to the event. And when I tell people are, oh, a ticket's $150. I'm like, do you realize what you blow? Right?
That's nothing.
I
In
know.
this day and age, that's, and I
What
don't like, I know for some people actually it is a big deal, but I'm comparing it to,
other events that we don't.
yeah, all the other stuff. Like, some of these things, and I'm Canadian and everything I buy is in American dollars. And I might do a 2-day seminar with some of, the smartest people in the industry. And it's $1,000 for a weekend. Right.
Yeah.
But
The
US.
the last two seminars I've been to was like $1,200, $1,300. I'm like, most of the shit I go to is 10x what I'm fucking charging. I want people, I'm making it as cheap as I possibly fucking can so that more people come, like my goal is 5,000 people this year. And like, I want 5,000 people experiencing this. So then that 5,000 becomes 10,000 next year, and I tell people all the time, if you're not happy with the experience, if you didn't get at least one thing out of coming to the event, please let me know and I'll fucking happily give you your money, because the initiative wasn't for this to be like my send off into fucking retirement. Like, oh my God, I took this event and now I could fucking retire.
Is that the fire festival? Right?
No, I make zero. I've been doing this for 9 fucking years. This will be the 9th year we do it. And I really don't make any money off it. Like everything I make, I'm like, all right, now I could take this money, reinvest it in the business and make it even bigger.
Shout out to Christy Mueller, your right hand, who's like everything at the back end, behind the scenes. She's dynamite. So shout out Christy.
Yeah, she is the most organized human being I have ever met. I rarely, if ever, have asked her a question about something and she doesn't have an answer or have it figured out or in the process of figuring it out. So she's done it.
We all know that your brain, and I love, the most loving way possible. I like to say that Kenny's brain is like a bag of cats. Like there's just no way you could pull this off without her.
No. And I tell people that all the time. I think there's a lot of people like that. And I'm sure there's a couple of people listening right now, like their wife or there's some woman in their life who is the anchor, and we all need that. And I definitely need it because I'm more big picture. I'm like, all right, how do I make this more grandiose? So my mind doesn't work on figuring out little things. Like if me and Christy go to a course and we're both taking notes, mine will look like a dynamite hit the page and fucking all the letters just went all over the place. And hers will be like still organized. Like I've never been able to do that. And I think there's other people out there who probably feel the same way. It's like, I'm more creative. I've never been really organized. So
you're right. There's actually a number of figures in the industry. I mean, our friend Don Saladino, right? Like shout out Mel.
Yeah.
Al, his wife, is just like so locked down on the back end. Kelsey and Dennis Heenan, right? Dennis is, the back end. Kelsey's the face of it
Yeah.
all. And there's lots more. I don't know if you know my friend Jason Brown. He's been on the podcast, and
Yeah. I just
Jason's
have them
super
on mine.
smart. Oh, he's
Yeah.
a beauty. And then his wife Danny is, she's again got all the back end stuff on lockdown. You're blessed if you find something like that. I mean, shit. I mean, even Alex and Layla Hormozy are a fantastic example of this dynamic, right?
Perfect example. Yeah. Perfect example. I think like everyone need that. Everybody needs a Robin, right? Everybody needs a Batman and Robin. And for people who say that like Robin isn't just as important, it's like he keeps Batman grounded, or vice versa.
Well,
Like
it's almost more like Alfred. I would say that it's like Alfred to
Yeah.
Batman, the way that
Yeah.
the movies certainly portray, right?
yeah, and that, especially in like the Dark Knight and the shit.
Yeah.
Like that, for sure. Yeah, yeah. No, I listen. I would not. The company would not be where it is without her. And I think there's a lot of people out there. Anyone who says they built anything on their own, they're sadly mistaken, because if you give me about 30 seconds, I could figure out 10 people that helped you get to that point. And now obviously since the event's gotten bigger, I have an even bigger team, and, she now has support. Like I had her as support, and she helped me build X, Y, and Z. And now she has a team of girls, who just help her out. Like my sister being one of them. My sister's another one who's a savage when it comes to organization and skills like that. So I'm very blessed to have many great women who are helping me with the business and are in my circle. So
Love it. All right, tell people. Well, I guess you've got 3 accounts people can follow. I mean, at Kenny Santucci is your main one. At Strong New York for the event. At Strong AF Pod for the podcast. Is there anywhere else you want to direct people, especially if they're interested in checking out the event?
No, strongnewyork.com, or Strong New York is everything about the event. Guys, I encourage everyone out there, fitness professional or not, bring your friends, bring your family. We have a family pass too. So it's 2 adults and up to 3 kids. And basically the kids come for free when you buy the 2 adult passes. And we have kids gymnastics and kids jujitsu and just like other stuff that, we want to encourage kids to move. And having kids classes in New Jersey and me teaching these over the past like 6-7 months, kids want to move, and it's the greatest gift you could give them. I have my nephew coming in today with back into the city, and I'm going to have him for the next 2 days, because he's 11 years old and he wants to work out, and he wants to lift, and he wants to do things. And it's the greatest gift to give them. And I was telling him the other day, I go, the skills that I'm going to help you learn and teach you over the years are only going to make you a better version of yourself over time. And if you want to give your kids something, give them a skill that nobody could take away from, right? Like money could be taken away, their reputation could be taken away, everything could be taken from you except the skills that you have. So educate yourself as much as possible, get as fit as you possibly can, and learn as many things as you possibly can.
Where's it being hosted this year?
We'll be back at the Glass House for the 3rd year in a row, which is probably one of the most premium venues, if not the most premium venue. I mean, people have weddings there all the time. It's a 40,000 square foot venue with 2 outdoor patios. Everything's encased in glass, so you get a 360 view of the whole city. It's an unbelievable experience.
Amazing. And any notable headliner, speakers, guests who are going to be there?
I don't want to release all of them just yet.
Okay.
But like I said,
Cool.
Chris Hinshaw is going to be one of them. I have him. I have for those of you who don't know who Chris Hinshaw is, he was an incredible athlete who became the coach behind Matt Frazier, Rich Froning, any top Tia Toomey, a lot of these high level CrossFit athletes, and he just got hired by Hyrox to be the head of education for them as well. So he's clearly somebody who's very sought after. So he's going to be doing some seminars and teaching people how to do all types of training, like anything from long distance endurance training to sprint training. I actually wanted to hit up Derek Henson because I haven't had him in a couple of years, and I love him. Another fellow Canadian. And then we have Jason Karp, and he has a company that he's buying up a lot of these healthier brands, whether they're soap brands or clothing brands. It's just all like really clean stuff. Our title sponsor this year is a place called Impact Kitchen, which is a Canadian brand as well. So we'll have them there. I had Dr. Quo who's speaking, who's I just had him on my podcast. He's a longevity specialist. He's an incredible doctor. He just had Chris Bumstead in his office the other day. I found him because I had seen some that Troy Aikman had posted about him doing some really cool treatments on him. So he's a very, very sought after doctor here in New York City. He's got some really cool stuff that he's working on. So I really love what he's all about. We're going to dive into the psychedelics a little bit. I got some guys talking, and the importance of plant medicine, right? Like people like laugh at it and shit. I let me tell you something. I've never did a drug in my life. I never smoked weed before like 35. And I think I smoked it 3 times from 35 to 42 now. And I was never that guy. But the more I've started to microdose mushrooms and like start to learn about this stuff, I don't take it to get fucked up and see shit. It generally, like I have the new strong coffee has these adaptogens and mushrooms and stuff that you could just drop in your coffee in the morning. And I love it. I think more clearly. I feel better. So I'm not talking about plant-based medicines to fucking, go crazy on. I'm talking about it as like things that will just help you operate at a different level.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's if these things have scientific merit and they stand up under scrutiny over time, we will get that to support, what people are experiencing, right? So it's wise for, I guess, our industry to keep an open mind reasonably, and unless there's like mountains of hardcore data that basically says this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
So everybody, go check out all your accounts. Like again, at Kenny Santucci, at Strong New York, at Strong AF Pod, and you'll have more details about speakers and things from the event as you release them.
Within the next 2 weeks, we're going to have a lot more stuff. We're going to do, we're doing a couple different pop-ups. I'm actually taking over a gym. One of the first gyms I ever started lifting at when I was a kid is a place called the Tillis Gym in Wildwood, New Jersey. It's been there since 1974. It's an old hardcore bodybuilding gym right on the beach in Wildwood, New Jersey. And on August 15th, we're going to do like a pop-up there. So we're going to do like a pump and run workout. We're going to do different challenges. We're going to give away tickets to the event. We're going to give away some clothes and some different products from a lot of our sponsors for the event. So that'll be a cool event. We're going to do another one of those in Union Square. So we're going to be popping up into a couple of different places, doing some cool shit. So keep your eyes out for that stuff too.
Kenny Santucci, ladies and gentlemen, go follow him. Go check out the events. Thank you guys for tuning in to another great episode.